Get your daily news fix from NewsSourceCrawler's latest edition. April 9. Get your daily news fix from NewsSourceCrawler's latest edition. April 9, 2025, featuring crypto, politics, tech, and more. YouTube music charts, global top songs from March 28 to April 3, 2025, feature the following hits. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde and J.R. Torres, and Ranjan by Parampara Thakur. Spotify's weekly top songs global list. For the period from Friday, March 28 to Thursday, April 3, 2025, includes the following tracks. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga, APT by Rose featuring Bruno Mars, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, and Ordinary by Alex Warren. Top-selling digital games on Nintendo US as of April 7, 2025. Minecraft, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Stardew Valley, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Steam's most popular games. A list of the leading games in terms of sales and player engagement on Steam. Based on the top 100 revenue-generating products, for the period from Tuesday, March 25, 2025, to Tuesday, April 1, 2025. Schedule 1. Counter-Strike 2, Inzoi. REPO. The First Berserker, Kazan. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. The NSA, CISA, FBI, and various international partners have issued a cybersecurity advisory concerning Fast Flux, which is identified as a national security threat. Fast Flux is a method employed to obscure the locations of harmful servers by swiftly altering the domain name system, DNS, records linked to a single domain name. This threat takes advantage of a common vulnerability in network defenses, complicating the process of tracking and blocking malicious Fast Flux activities. One more drop in the ocean of AI. MetaLlama's Llama 4 Scout 17B16e Instruct. The Llama 4 series consists of autoregressive language models that employ a mixture of experts, architectural design. These models also integrate early fusion techniques to support native multimodality. The United States and Iran are engaging in direct discussions regarding Iran's nuclear program, as announced by President Trump. Iran has stated that it will participate in indirect negotiations with the U.S. in Oman on Saturday. Hezbollah has expressed its willingness to consider disarming if Israel agrees to withdraw from southern Lebanon. Furthermore, Reuters has reported that Iran-backed militias in Iraq are prepared to disarm in an effort to avoid potential retaliation from President Trump. Volkswagen's Audi division is holding vehicles in U.S. ports because of the automotive tariffs, while the European Union has proposed to President Trump the elimination of all industrial tariffs. This situation has been described as the EU being concerned about a surge in Chinese imports as Trump intensifies the tariff conflict. Trump has dismissed the EU's proposal for a zero-for-zero tariff agreement, stating that the EU must purchase $350 billion worth of U.S. energy to receive any tariff relief. China's Premier Li has assured the EU's Ursula von der Leyen that China is equipped to handle Trump's actions, as Brussels considers imposing 25% tariffs in retaliation against Trump. The Palestinian Red Crescent has reported that autopsies indicate the medics killed in Gaza were shot with the deliberate intention to cause death. An Israeli airstrike occurred near a charity kitchen in Gaza while Palestinians were assembling to receive food. Furthermore, Israel has taken control of half of Gaza after destroying land to increase its buffer zone. Indonesia has expressed readiness to temporarily accommodate 1,000 refugees fleeing from Gaza. The design team at General Motors in the United Kingdom envisions a future where the iconic Corvette is powered by electricity. Kawasaki has introduced a groundbreaking hydrogen-powered, ride-on robot horse. Amazon's Zoox has started testing its robotaxi service in the bustling city of Los Angeles. The discovery of stone tools in China indicates that individuals in East Asia were engaging in innovative activities during the Middle Paleolithic period, similar to those in Europe and the Middle East. A startup focused on de-extinction, valued at $10 billion, has successfully revived the dire wolf. Furthermore, anthrax has resulted in the deaths of 50 hippos within Congo's Virunga National Park. Apple customers are rushing to stores to purchase iPhones before tariffs take effect. Reuters has reported that Micron plans to introduce a tariff-related surcharge on certain products starting April 9, according to sources. The Guardian has commented that Trump's tariffs, described as very beautiful on Fox News, are expected to address issues in America, masculinity, and the family. Madonna and Elton John have finally resolved their long-standing conflict, which began years ago when Elton criticized Madonna for lip-syncing. They emphasize that forgiveness is a powerful tool. Werner Herzog is set to receive the Golden Lion for career achievement at the Venice Film Festival. In Panama, lightning strikes have been found to enhance the growth of the almendro tree. In Germany, 15 schools in Duisburg have been shut down due to threats from far-right groups. The Guardian has commented on the situation where student journalists in the United States have stopped publishing, fearing a campaign by Trump against pro-Palestinian speech. In the United States, the Department of Justice has stated that some individuals charged in connection with the January 6 events should be reimbursed for the money they sent to Congress. It was reported 2 months ago that only a small portion of the restitution owed for the damage caused to the U.S. Capitol during the riot has been paid by the offenders. South Korea is anticipated to hold an unexpected presidential election on June 3, according to media reports. In a tragic incident, at least 66 people, including 2 former Major League Baseball players, lost their lives when the roof of a nightclub in the Dominican Republic collapsed. Kenya is optimistic that by transforming the large Kakuma refugee camp into a city, it will facilitate the integration of refugees into society. Donald Trump has issued a warning to China, threatening to impose an additional 50% tariff unless Beijing decides to remove its own tariffs. In response, China has declared its intention to fight to the end following Trump's threat of increased tariffs. Furthermore, Trump has raised tariffs to 90% on small parcels originating from mainland China and Hong Kong. China has called on Shein to pause its supply chain adjustments in light of the tariffs. The Disney Store has launched its May the 4th celebrations early, offering exclusive Star Wars merchandise weekly, while Amazon is expanding its Hall Bargain store to include name brands and provide faster shipping. It has been noted that countries such as Brazil, Egypt, and Singapore could potentially benefit from the current tariff situation. The Ukrainian intelligence agency, HUR, has reported the discovery of an Indian component in a Russian weapon for the first time. President Zelensky announced that Ukraine has captured 2 Chinese soldiers who were fighting on behalf of President Putin. Furthermore, Zelensky confirmed that Ukrainian troops are present in Russia's Belgorod region. Japan has expressed its desire to become part of a NATO command to provide support to Ukraine. Ripple has made a significant move by acquiring Hidden Road, a prime broker known for its favorable stance towards cryptocurrencies, for a substantial amount of $1.25 billion. Tether is contemplating the introduction of a stablecoin that would be exclusively available in the United States, following the relaxation of cryptocurrency regulations by former President Trump. Ant Group's technology division has decided to establish its global headquarters in Hong Kong, as part of its strategic focus on advancing artificial intelligence and Web3 technologies. The Art Basel and UBS Global Art Market Report for 2025, prepared by Arts Economics, predicts a 12% decrease in total art sales, bringing the figure down to $57.5 billion. Rolex has introduced the Oyster Perpetual Land Dweller, accompanied by 32 patent applications and patents. Robert De Niro is set to be honored with the honorary Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival in 2025 and will also conduct a masterclass. Nintendo has announced that game key cards are not linked to any specific accounts, allowing them to be freely loaned or sold to others. Hershey's chocolate is set to receive a movie that explores its origins. In a rural town in Japan, trading cards featuring middle-aged men have gained significant popularity and gone viral. Taiwan does not have any intentions of implementing retaliatory tariffs, but it does plan to increase its purchases from the United States and also intends to expand its investments in the country. Bangladesh is urging President Trump to postpone the imposition of tariffs, highlighting its efforts to enhance imports from the United States. Reuters has reported that Thailand is considering increasing its imports from the United States and reducing taxes as a response to the tariffs. However, Bloomberg has reported that an official from Thailand has stated that the country will not rush to lower taxes on imports from the United States. Beijing has instructed American companies to hold Washington accountable for the ongoing tariff tensions while emphasizing the promising opportunities available in China. It is also reported that Elon Musk personally reached out to President Trump, urging him to overturn the extensive new tariffs. Musk has publicly criticized Trump's leading trade advisor, Peter Navarro, referring to him as a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks. Furthermore, it is said that Apple organized 5 flights carrying iPhones from India and China within a span of 3 days in an effort to circumvent the tariffs imposed by Trump. A recent poll indicates that approximately 25% of companies in Hong Kong might adopt the government's wage freeze policy. This follows the announcement 2 months ago that Hong Kong plans to reduce its civil service workforce by 10,000 positions and implement a pay freeze due to budgetary deficits. In the United Kingdom, the Post Office has decided to sell off all of its branches that it directly owns. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has come to an agreement with Argentina, providing a $20 billion bailout to the financially struggling nation. IBM has introduced a new mainframe system designed to manage the substantial workloads associated with AI models. Andreessen Horowitz is aiming to secure a massive $20 billion fund, driven by the growing interest in AI startups within the United States. TSMC is reportedly at risk of incurring a $1 billion penalty due to a chip discovered in a Huawei AI processor, according to various sources. A study conducted over Google CTRs has revealed that the increasing prominence of AI-generated overviews in search results is leading to a decrease in click-through rates. This shift has left website creators feeling as though they have been betrayed, as reported by Bloomberg. Google has introduced an AI mode in its search capabilities that is now able to provide answers to questions related to images. The CEO of Shopify has stated that employees must demonstrate that their roles cannot be performed by AI before requesting additional staffing. JP Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon, has expressed concerns that the tariffs imposed by Trump will lead to increased inflation and further decelerate the U.S. economy, which is already experiencing a slowdown. Goldman Sachs has increased the likelihood of a recession in the United States to 45%, marking the second such increase within a single week. Bill Ackman has urged for a 90-day pause on tariffs, warning that without this action, there is a risk of an economically self-induced nuclear winter. Instagram is enhancing its search capabilities to rival TikTok. In 2024, Spotify is set to pay African artists a total of $59 million, with Nigerian and South African musicians leading the global music trend. Meta has announced that teenagers under the age of 16 will require parental consent to live stream on Instagram. In the United States, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, agents have the primary responsibility of determining whether detainees are affiliated with gangs and should be deported, according to the border czar. Migrants who used the Biden-era CBP-1 app to enter the U.S. have had their legal status revoked and are instructed to leave the country immediately. Germany has halted its participation in the United Nations Refugee Resettlement Program as a new coalition government is expected to adopt a less hospitable stance towards refugees. Furthermore, the European Union's border agency is conducting an investigation into Greece regarding potential human rights violations. A Panama official has leveled accusations of misconduct against a Hong Kong port operator, while the U.S. defense chief has stated that the country will reclaim control of the Panama Canal from what he describes as China's influence. In a separate development, Spain is advocating for the European Union to shift its focus towards China as a means to counteract the tariffs imposed by Trump. The LA Times has remarked that Trump's tariffs are further damaging Hollywood's prospects in China. In the United States, the Department of Justice has decided to disband its team dedicated to enforcing cryptocurrency regulations, choosing instead to concentrate its efforts on combating terrorism and fraud. Reuters has disclosed that Elon Musk's cryptocurrency, Doge, is allegedly utilizing artificial intelligence to monitor the activities of U.S. federal employees, according to unnamed sources. There are reports indicating that hackers have plans to target Elon Musk for an entire month. Hackers have been present in the systems of the Treasury Office of the Comptroller of the Currency since a breach occurred in June 2023, according to the U.S. financial regulator, who reported that an email hack revealed sensitive information about banks. The UK has been unsuccessful in its attempt to maintain the secrecy of Apple's appeal against a request for an iPhone backdoor. Furthermore, tech CEOs in the US have noted that a large number of fake job seekers are overwhelming companies that are currently hiring for remote positions. In the United States, a former Justice Department pardon attorney has made allegations of ongoing corruption and misuse of authority within the agency. President Trump and Paramount have reached an agreement on a mediator for the 60 Minutes lawsuit. CBS has reported that President Trump's debt related to fraud in New York exceeds $500 million. Furthermore, it is reported that several top officials from the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, are expected to resign following a controversial agreement to provide data on migrants to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. The White House has stated that Trump is confident the United States possesses the ability to produce iPhones, as the ongoing tariff conflict with China continues. Trump has indicated that the U.S. will soon reveal tariffs on pharmaceutical imports. The U.S. Congress, specifically the House, is expected to provide Trump with the necessary space to implement these tariffs, according to Johnson. Furthermore, Trump has issued a threat to veto any legislation aimed at limiting his authority over tariffs. In another development, Trump has mandated a fresh review of the merger between Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel. Dr. Oz advocates for AI in healthcare at first Medicare agency meeting. 5 days ago, Dr. Oz officially took on the role of leading the agency responsible for managing Medicare and Medicaid. The White House has directed agencies to create strategies and appoint leaders to enhance the use of AI. A congressional report highlights that China's advancements in biotechnology pose a threat to U.S. dominance, and a Stanford report indicates that the U.S.'s lead in AI over China is quickly diminishing. Ivorian fintech company Jammo has successfully secured $17 million in funding to further develop its platform, marking a significant milestone as it reaches 1 million active customers. A unit of Johnson & Johnson has been mandated to pay $1.64 billion due to the illegal promotion of HIV drugs. In a strategic move, Infineon has announced its acquisition of Marvell's automotive Ethernet business. In India, there is growing concern over digital safety as cyber scams specifically targeting the elderly continue to rise. A recent report indicates that in 2024, clean energy sources were responsible for generating 40% of the world's electricity. In the United States, former President Trump has issued executive orders intended to revitalize the coal industry, which has been facing significant challenges. The National Weather Service in the U.S. has decided to cease translating its weather products into languages other than English. In Malaysia, the central bank, known as Bank Negara, has indicated that there is no immediate plan to reduce interest rates, even though the United States has imposed tariffs and the Malaysian ringgit is experiencing fluctuations. A survey conducted by Pew Research Center reveals that a significant portion of Americans are against the tariffs placed on Chinese products. Commentators suggest that Chinese suppliers of semiconductors and auto parts anticipate benefiting from the escalating U.S. trade war, and China might retaliate by leveraging its service trade to counter the U.S. tariffs. The Washington Post discusses the rise of MAGA Maoism within the populist right, as Besant suggests that federal layoffs could assist in filling factory positions generated by Trump's tariffs. China has criticized J.D. Vance for referring to its citizens as peasants. Meanwhile, a right-wing group supported by Koch and Leo is taking legal action to halt Trump's tariffs. Bloomberg states that El Salvador is now considered safer to visit than France by the United States. AP notes that while the U.S. anticipated a significant year for travel, overseas visitors, upset with Trump, are choosing other destinations. Trump intends to impose a $998 daily fine on migrants who do not depart following a deportation order, and the Supreme Court has permitted Trump to deport Venezuelans under wartime law, though only after a review by judges. Furthermore, it is reported that the Trump administration plans to allocate $45 billion to expand immigrant detention facilities, and the U.S. has sent 238 migrants to a large prison in El Salvador, with documents suggesting that most of them do not have any clear criminal records. Caltech has decided to change the name of its leading diversity official, but the office dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion will remain unchanged. The Trump administration has reportedly halted $1 billion in funding intended for Cornell University and $790 million meant for Northwestern University. The administration has reduced funding to Princeton University due to its climate-related programs. The Trump administration recently announced an accidental reduction in funding for certain crucial United Nations food programs, which occurred just one day prior. This decision has resulted in the cessation of essential food aid for millions of people, with the World Food Program describing it as a death sentence. Meanwhile, Democrats have initiated a new war room strategy to challenge both Trump and the Republican Party. The Washington Post has commented on how tariffs are causing divisions within the GOP, while the Wall Street Journal has noted that Wall Street is beginning to voice opposition to Trump's tariff policies. Trump pledges a $1 trillion defense budget for the upcoming year. The Trump administration dismisses a senior Navy female officer stationed at NATO, who was included on a list labeled as woke by a conservative group. Trump announces a 4-mile military parade to celebrate his 79th birthday, which has been criticized as a $92 million event in his own honor. The Trump administration is considering the use of drone strikes against Mexican drug cartels. An EU envoy has stated that there have been no discussions with the United States regarding the possibility of reducing sanctions on Russia. The United Kingdom is developing a tool designed to predict who is most likely to commit murder. The former head of the FDA's vaccine division has expressed concern that the United States' status of having eliminated measles is at risk due to an increase in cases. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has announced his intention to instruct the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, to cease recommending fluoride in public drinking water. In a move that has caused significant backlash among his followers, Health Secretary RFK Jr. has publicly supported the MMR vaccine. Kennedy has also made the assertion that anti-vaccination doctors have successfully treated approximately 300 children affected by measles. RFK Jr. has traveled to Texas following the tragic death of a second child due to measles during the ongoing outbreak. Furthermore, it has been reported that Kennedy's proposal to dispatch health officials to Native American communities has provoked anger among Native leaders.
Get your daily news fix from newsworthy's latest edition. April 7, 2025, featuring crypto, politics, tech, and more. YouTube Music Charts. Global top songs from March 28 to April 3, 2025, feature the following hits. Die with a Smile, by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde and J.R. Torres, and Ranjan by Parampara Thakur. Spotify's weekly top songs global list. For the period from Friday, March 28 to Thursday, April 3, 2025, includes the following tracks. Die with a Smile, by Lady Gaga, APT by Rose featuring Bruno Mars, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, and Ordinary by Alex Warren. Top-selling digital games on Nintendo US as of April 7, 2025. Minecraft, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Stardew Valley, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Steam's most popular games. A list of the leading games in terms of sales and player engagement on Steam. Based on the top 100 revenue-generating products, for the period from Tuesday, March 25, 2025, to Tuesday, April 1, 2025. Schedule 1. Counter-Strike 2, INZOI. REPO. The First Berserker, Kazan. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. The NSA, CISA, FBI, and various international partners have issued a cybersecurity advisory concerning fast flux, which is identified as a national security threat. Fast flux is a method employed to obscure the locations of harmful servers by swiftly altering the domain name system, DNS, records linked to a single domain name. This threat takes advantage of a common vulnerability in network defenses, complicating the process of tracking and blocking malicious fast flux activities. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Meta Llama's Llama 4 Scout 17B16e Instruct. The Llama 4 series consists of autoregressive language models that employ a mixture of experts, architectural design. These models also integrate early fusion techniques to support native multimodality. The TikTok agreement has been temporarily suspended due to China's objections regarding tariffs, according to sources. President Trump has extended the deadline for TikTok to divest, mentioning that China is unhappy about the tariffs. In response to Trump's trade war, China has imposed a 34% reciprocal tariff on imports of U.S. goods. Furthermore, China has retaliated by implementing export controls on essential rare earths, cutting off U.S. supplies of minerals crucial for defense and clean tech. Trump commented that China played it wrong, which led to a stock market crash. Federal Reserve Chair Powell has warned that tariff-induced inflation could be more persistent, while Trump has urged him to lower interest rates. China has developed the world's first RISC-V chip with a size of just 1 nanometer, utilizing 2D materials. OpenAI has engaged in discussions about acquiring the AI device startup founded by Johnny Ive and Sam Altman. Air India has collaborated with Apple to introduce AirTag-based technology for tracking lost luggage. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, have issued a warning about the fast flux technique, which is being employed by hackers to conceal malicious servers. In a separate incident, coordinated cyber attacks have targeted Australia's largest pension funds. A breach in Europacar's GitLab has compromised the personal data of potentially up to 200,000 customers. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Klarna has decided to halt its previously planned initial public offering, IPO, following the announcement of tariffs by President Trump. Bloomberg has noted that within a span of just 24 hours, the ongoing trade war has led to the stalling of mergers and acquisitions, M&A, and IPOs valued in the billions of dollars. Nintendo has postponed the pre-order date for its Switch 2 in the United States to evaluate the effects of Trump's tariffs. In the U.S., PSA has also paused accepting international submissions for grading due to the tariffs. Elon Musk is allegedly using Doge to gain access to Social Security data in order to strengthen claims against migrants, while DHS officials have requested the IRS to utilize tax data to identify up to 7 million immigrants. Doge is organizing a hackathon at the IRS with the goal of obtaining easier access to taxpayer data. Politico has remarked, "The terror is real," as the tech industry, feeling intimidated, hesitates to criticize Elon Musk. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has stated that the imposition of tariffs by the United States does not breach the NATO treaty. Elon Musk has expressed his desire for both Europe and the United States to transition towards a scenario where tariffs are completely eliminated. Apple is contemplating the possibility of increasing its iPhone assembly operations in Brazil as a strategy to circumvent the tariffs imposed by the United States. Trump hints at a potential tariff agreement with Vietnam following a productive conversation. In contrast to Trump's tariff policies, California, under Governor Newsom, intends to continue engaging in global trade independently. Indonesia's minister states that the country will not take retaliatory measures against Trump's tariff. Disney showcased footage from Avatar 3, Fantastic Four, Elio, and Tron, Ares at CinemaCon. The Las Vegas Sphere revealed plans for an immersive screening of The Wizard of Oz. The United States is anticipated to host the Women's World Cup in 2031, potentially alongside other CONCACAF countries. ByteDance has confirmed discussions with the U.S. regarding TikTok following President Trump's decision to grant a 75-day extension to finalize a deal aimed at preserving the app. Apple has decided to retain TikTok in its App Store after receiving assurances from Attorney General Bondi. This marks the second time Trump has extended the deadline for TikTok. The Hollywood Reporter has noted that Vimeo is interested in enabling every creator to establish their own Netflix-like platform. Furthermore, a report by Omdia highlights the growing popularity of the microdrama genre in Asia, with leading apps achieving over 150 million active users. Israel has eliminated a Hamas leader in Lebanon, adding to the strain on the ongoing ceasefire. Inspectors have indicated that over 100 chemical weapons locations might still exist in Syria. The New York Times has published a report featuring a video that depicts aid workers being killed in Gaza amidst intense gunfire, even as their ambulance lights were flashing. The Writers Guild of America has approved a fresh 3-year agreement with CBS News, ensuring important protections related to artificial intelligence. In New York, lawsuits filed by U.S. authors against OpenAI and Microsoft have been merged with similar actions taken by newspapers. The United Nations has issued a warning that artificial intelligence might impact 40% of jobs and exacerbate inequality among countries. A report indicates that Russian espionage devices have been detected monitoring the movements of Britain's nuclear submarines within the waters of the United Kingdom. It has been suggested that the White House attributes the Signal scandal to an auto-suggested contact on an iPhone. Furthermore, the Sahel Alliance has decided to withdraw its ambassadors from Algiers following the incident of a drone being downed. Anthropic asserts that reasoning models often do not express their true thoughts. DeepSeek has introduced a novel AI reasoning technique, generating excitement for its upcoming advanced model. Meta has revealed the Llama 4 series of large language models, including Maverick and Scout. They assert that the Maverick model, with 400 billion parameters, leads in all benchmarks. Furthermore, they mention that a 2 trillion parameter model, known as Behemoth, is currently undergoing training. A previously operational coal-fired power plant in the United States is set to be transformed into a large-scale gas-powered facility dedicated to artificial intelligence and data centers. A study conducted by Texas A&M University reveals that after 120 years of conservation efforts, the Yellowstone bison population has reduced to a single breeding group. The Trump administration has issued an order allowing logging in half of the country's national forests. The SEC has announced that stablecoins such as USDT and USDC, which are considered covered, are not classified as securities. Consequently, there is no requirement for registration when minting or redeeming these digital currencies. In a viral video, Jim Cramer has forecasted a stock market crash reminiscent of the 1987 Black Monday, attributing it to the tariffs imposed by Trump. Chinese markets are preparing for a potentially turbulent Monday as trading resumes following a series of reciprocal tariffs with the U.S. Trump's leading economic advisor has stated that 50 countries have expressed interest in negotiating tariffs. Long-term alcohol consumption leads to gender-specific difficulties in evaluating rewards within the striatum. Following a Western diet while pregnant is linked to neurodevelopmental issues in children and teenagers. Recent studies suggest that inadequate sleep might contribute to the rise of conspiracy theories. The United States has experienced its most significant honeybee die-off, resulting in the loss of 1.6 million colonies. In Australia, Queensland, which is typically dry, has been severely impacted by floods. The World Health Organization reports an increase in drug-resistant fungal diseases. Research indicates that individuals who feel lonely experience increased sadness after interacting with chatbots. An 18-year study has discovered a connection between being married and a higher risk of developing dementia in older adults. Brain channels that appear to be frozen in time have been found to show a chemical flow that facilitates learning and cognitive processes. Cambodia celebrates the inauguration of a military base that has been renovated by China. The Japanese emperor pays a visit to Iwo Jima to pay respects to those who lost their lives in one of the most intense battles of World War II. Germany's Rheinmetall is setting its sights on producing engines for missiles capable of traveling 2,000 kilometers and plans to establish a facility for launching satellites. Goldman Sachs has reduced its growth prediction for Chinese stocks in 2025 due to the influence of Trump's tariffs. Just 6 days prior, the financial institution also adjusted its forecast for Europe's Stoxx 600 index, citing the same tariff impact. The UK's Jaguar Land Rover has decided to halt shipments to the United States because of these tariffs. In the US, Besant has described the tariffs as a one-time price adjustment. A court in China is conducting an auction for 100 tons of live crocodiles, with the starting bid set at $550,000, but without including delivery. In Philadelphia, the zoo has celebrated the hatching of its first Galapagos tortoise babies, marking a significant event as the endangered tortoise, who is approximately 100 years old, becomes a first-time mother. In Britain's second-largest city, rats that are reportedly larger than cats are being seen as garbage collectors go on strike. According to AP, federal officials are discreetly ending the legal residency status of certain international college students. It is reported that in South Korea, intense academic pressures began as early as kindergarten. Furthermore, a teenager from New Jersey has successfully campaigned to have users of the Nitify app face imprisonment and fines reaching up to $30,000. People in Spain are taking to the streets in 40 different cities to demonstrate against the escalating housing crisis. In Hong Kong, residential landlords are receiving backing from employees at hedge funds and cryptocurrency firms, according to Savills. The death toll has increased to 33 due to severe flooding caused by heavy rains in the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, India and Sri Lanka have entered into agreements focusing on defense and energy, which are expected to enhance their bilateral relations. In Armenia, the president has signed a law that marks the beginning of the country's journey towards joining the European Union. Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, has announced his decision to step down from his position as the chair of the trustees. The United States is in discussions with the Democratic Republic of the Congo regarding a minerals agreement, according to a statement from a Trump administration official. In the Central African Republic, large crowds have gathered to protest against the presence of Russian Wagner mercenaries. The Reuters Institute at Oxford University has remarked that as the Trump administration curtails the voice of America, Russia and China are taking advantage of the situation to influence and transform Africa's news landscape. Germany is contemplating the removal of its 1,200-ton gold reserve from the United States as a response to actions by Donald Trump. Across the nation, millions participated in hands-off protests against Trump and Elon Musk, with Musk dismissing the Saturday demonstrators as paid puppets. In Paris, supporters of Marine Le Pen gathered, transforming a protest into a powerful display of populist strength. Le Pen criticized what she called a witch hunt and pledged to continue her fight at the rally. Trump and Vance expressed their support for Le Pen following her conviction. Microsoft introduces Copilot Vision, an AI tool designed to assist users in real-world scenarios, available on both Windows and mobile platforms. OpenAI announces the upcoming release of O3, although it will postpone the launch of GPT-5. Midjourney unveils V7, marking its first new AI image model in almost a year. Mavoglurant has been shown to decrease cocaine consumption in individuals suffering from cocaine use disorder during a Phase 2 clinical trial. Research indicates that newborns exposed to antibiotics may experience a weakened immune response to vaccines. A neuroscientific model has identified a consistent physiological pattern associated with near-death experiences. Hantavirus, responsible for the death of Gene Hackman's spouse, has been associated with 3 fatalities in a remote California community. Donald Trump has declined President Biden's proposal to broaden Medicare's coverage to include obesity medications. OpenAI is experimenting with watermarking technology for its ChatGPT 4o image generation model. Uber and WeRide have collaborated with Dubai's Road and Transport Authority to introduce autonomous vehicles to the city. In a separate development, China has introduced an alternative to HDMI and DisplayPort, known as GPMI, which offers an impressive bandwidth of up to 192 gigabits per second and a power delivery capacity of 480 W. A man has filed a lawsuit against a Chinese gaming company, claiming that being virtually slapped 4,800 times led to his depression. The thalamus influences consciousness by exerting layer-specific control over the cortex. The universe's structure has become increasingly disorganized, as indicated by cosmological data that suggest it has grown messier and more complicated. A recent study indicates that OpenAI's models have memorized copyrighted material. The BBC expresses dissatisfaction with the absence of its branding on stories featured in Apple News. Russian journalists working for the BBC are deeply concerned about being labeled as foreign agents. A court has mandated that Wikimedia take down content from India that is